Hello, I'm David Hazard, founder of Ascent, an international coaching program for authors. I'm here today to talk with Jennifer Rundlett, author of this beautiful book, My Dancing Day, Reflections on the Incarnation in Art and Music. Jennifer, hello. Good to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Jennifer, this is an absolutely beautiful book.
Yeah, I'm really proud of this.
Yeah, My Dancing Day, Reflections on the Incarnation in Art and Music. This book is full of beautiful artwork, recommendations for great listening, and I love your reflections. I love the writing that you did about the aspects of the Nativity. I can see this being an absolutely really well-treasured gift book, as well as a book that somebody might use for their own times of reflection.
Well, it was really a joy to work on.
So tell me, what inspired you to write this book?
Yeah, it's interesting. I, for years, have been doing an arts class in the community college system in Frederick that synthesizes art and music together for the student. And so I've really been looking for those kinds of connections and stories. And then one year somebody asked me to do a pre-concert lecture for the Mozart Requiem. And at first I was very intimidated by that piece, but I was really drawn to looking at Mozart's personal letters and finding out how he felt about God. And so I sort of crafted a story for that audience that night that gave them a window into the heart of Mozart as he was writing about the Requiem. And it opened up a whole new world for me in that piece that was sort of addictive.
Interesting. Tell us briefly what this book is about.
Well, this is a book that tells the story of how I discovered the importance of meditating on the events that surrounded Christ's birth. And each chapter has a painting and a piece of music that I've sort of paired together to create a meditation for my reader to slow down and spend time looking at each individual episode.
What was there? Do you have a favorite painting or two? I know I'm putting you on the spot to choose just one because they're all beautiful, but are there any that stand out for you as a piece of artwork that really spoke to you deeply?
Oh, very difficult to choose. They're all like little children to me. Perhaps Giotto's nativity scene, and just thinking about the first nativity scenes and how Christians of the late Middle Ages became drawn to having living nativities through St. Francis and so forth. That became very important for me to live out in my life, in my home.
Beautiful. Interesting. Who do you think will benefit most from reading this book?
My reader is going to be someone that's looking for a deeper experience of the Christmas season. I'm hoping one that will refresh and strengthen them throughout the rest of the year and not leave them feeling sort of depleted in every way, like many of our Christmas traditions can do to us.
Interesting. Did you make any unusual discoveries while you were working on this book?
Wow, again, difficult to limit me to just one, but I think just being opened up to the idea that there's this whole rich Christian heritage that's available to us, and learning how experiencing these great works of art, I can reach back through time and sort of have a communion and a brotherhood with these great Christian artists was very wonderful.
Do you find that people today have difficulty relating to classical art and classical music?
Yes. Initially, our society tends to, I think that's the fault of the arts teacher or the artist, because I think we get so wrapped up in being impressed with the technique of the artist and the composer that we forget to just talk about them as people that had a message.
And so that's what I get from reading your book and looking at the artwork and reading the way that you treat the pieces of art is they're certainly beautiful, and the technique is flawless in so many cases. but you have a knack for looking into the heart of the work and talking about the spiritual aspect of what the artist was about, or what the composer was about. Why has that become sort of a special mission for you? I know that you have your work is called God Through the Arts.
Yes.
Why has that become a special mission for you?
I was sort of brought up in a tradition that did not encourage the celebrating of the church calendar, certain holidays, and we didn't have icons or paintings and instrumental music and so forth. And so it was sort of dividing my personality. I would go to church every Sunday and be very spiritual, but then I was feeling like I wasn't allowed to see the spiritual nature of these work. And Bach loved God, and his music is mostly about God, and so I'm not really going to understand him until I allow myself to see him in that light.
So it's interesting to me that you came from a place where you didn't necessarily have ready access to some of the great aspects of our culture, painting, music, and yet there was something in you that gravitated toward that. How do you account for that? What is it that inspires you or draws you toward these great works of beauty?
Well, I've really come to realize that God came to me where I was. I was spending a great portion of time trying to connect with my students, telling them about how amazing these composers were, and what I really needed to do was discover them for myself. And I felt God's hand, loving hand, coming to me where I was, sort of like the compassionate father in the prodigal son, coming out to meet me and find me and bring me in. So
it's my experience, Jennifer, in the many years I've been working with authors, that the process of working on a book can change the writer in some ways. Did you experience anything like that while you were working on this book?
Yeah, interesting, this word to me, change. I think it's difficult for a lot of people to admit change, but yeah, just this whole experience of finding communion with the artists and making them accessible has changed how accessible I feel towards God.
Interesting. Good. If there's one thing that you would like your readers to take away from this experience, and again, I know that this book is very rich, but if there's one overall thing that you would like for your readers to take away, what would that be?
Yeah, I really hope that the person that finds my book will learn that the arts are accessible, that they're not something, the artist does not want to be put on a pedestal, that they are actually trying to reach out to you and touch your heart. And the message of all of these artists in this book is something as simple and pure as Jesus loves me, this I know. And once you free yourself up and allow yourself to feel sort of empty and to say, I don't know, this is when God can really speak to you and when you can learn to enjoy the dance.
Well, I am sure that people who, I'll say encounter your book, not just read it, but encounter the beautiful gallery of images and lyrics that you've included, your reflections. It really is like a walk through a gallery. I'm sure that people are going to have this very deep, reflective experience. And you've done a wonderful job of creating that. Thank you for your work on this book, Jennifer.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you.
I'm David Hazard, founder of Ascent. I've been talking today with Jennifer Rundlett, author of My Dancing Day, Reflections on the Incarnation in Art and Music. If you have need of editorial coaching services, book development and design, please find us on the web at www.itsyourlifebethere.com.